People better get us now. That's all. You better get us now, because it's coming.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, I wanted to come up to say how thankful we are for all of you. We appreciate your support. We're proud to say we're the only daily podcast covering UConn men's and women's basketball, the hoops capital of the world, and we're thrilled to bring you the coverage you deserve. All right, so look, last night's game took forever to start because obviously Creighton and DePaul were playing in a classic, and we'll talk about that shortly after we start. But I probably was very similar to you guys in the respect that I was, watching this game and I was really uneasy, didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable. I said it yesterday in the show about the matchup anyway, because Nova just plays this tough. Luka Poplar is a guy that sees red when he sees that UConn jersey, and he was having a phenomenal game. But out of the blue, I think UConn, I wouldn't even say it out of the blue. It felt like if I truly think back to watching Dan Hurley on the sidelines yesterday, looking at him and telling his team, we're fine, everything's good. Just keep, just get over the hump. Just get over the hump. And then hearing Alex Karaban at the end of the game talking about how he knew that if they kept playing the way they were playing, that eventually they'd be able to break them. And that to me sounds like old UConn, playing that kind of bulletproof basketball where they know they have a plan. And even if it doesn't always look like the best basketball in the world, especially this year, but it's going to get the job done. And what happens? They erupted for about a 22-5 run to crush Villanova. A fatigued team that just looked like they were, if we're talking about a UFC fight that was getting ready to give us a little tap out. Pardon me, I still have this cough, and it's just been brutal. So if I not step away, but if I look aside to cough, I apologize, or if you hear it through the mic. Yes, the first two comments in the chat. How about our boy Aiden Mahaney? Dan Hurley said something in the press conference that I thought was kind of gets me excited, and it's the reason why I'm praying for a 7 seed. Because if this team gets that 7 seed, man, do I think that they have a shot to make a run? Because Aiden Mahaney, in a system like this, where he has absolutely carte blanche to do whatever he wants with the ball, to attack it, to try to get after it, to facilitate a little bit when they attack him, because he took a beating last night and he was just like, whatever. He got hit in the chest, the hips. They were trying to punk him, and he was just like, you know what? He's kind of a guy right now where it's like, I've been through so much this year. You can slap me around, punch me, throw me into a river. I don't care. I'm going to come back even stronger. And the dude has just been very, very, what was the better late than never, right? Jay Rosa? Yeah, 1,000% better late than never. But at the same time, he's always had this in him. It's just been a matter of, can you extract it from him? And is it at the right time? So yeah, just excited to have our guy Aiden, kind of find himself and find a little bit of a role here. And the comment that Dan made in the post game that I thought was so great was, only in the Big East can Dan Hurley say in the post game that, hey, by the way, once we get out of this tournament and we get to the big tournament, where they actually let us have freedom of movement, Aiden's going to be pretty damn good for us. And so it's just you'd like to think that that's not going to always be the case, but at least there's that, hope if after these next couple games. let's get Matt Edwards in the game here from I heard the buzzer sound. I wish we did have a buzzer sound to get people in the game like in real life. Beep. There he is, subbing in. Nat from the Dream Season Pod. What's up, brother? How we doing?
How much? How are you? Good. How are you? You need the horn, the MSG horn.
Yes, that I would love it. I would love that as a sound effect board to kind of just like buzz someone in. That'd be great.
How you been?
I'm good, man. I wanted to do something. The title of this is, my thumbnail is Win for Vin, because obviously Vinnie Lombardi died yesterday, tragically. Obviously sad stuff, but also at the same time, it was so great to see like the outpouring of love from not only just the fans, but the team. It's just such a cool thing. Like I've never witnessed that kind of stuff before. I'm sure that there's other teams that have done that. I'm sure the UConn teams have done it in the past, but just how quickly that kind of caught. Like, and I know part of that was the sense of urgency because he was, given a really tough hand. So I just was really taken aback by, and if anyone in the chat doesn't know that, like if anyone's listening, one of the guys, the truly good guys in UConn Twitter in UConn social media world, Waterbury cop, am I correct? Yes,
yes.
True. He was a Waterbury police officer, and he died of cancer. Really, just a really tough blow, and they literally posted, we had to do it. We had to win for Vin. That's just such a cool thing.
When I saw the official account use that hashtag, the Win for Vin hashtag, that one like got to me. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
I know.
It was really cool.
Yeah. So my thoughts and prayers go out to his family and just all his really close friends that I've just reached out with and just said, sorry, sorry for his loss, for your guys' loss, and really a loss to the UConn community as a whole and the Connecticut community as a whole. Losing one of its police officers and from everything I've heard, just a force of nature, good dude.
Absolutely. Like I said, I never met him, interacted with him on Twitter, but when I was flying home from Houston from the Final Four in 23, and I had seen pictures online of people drinking out of that foam Husky head, and we got off, we were Spirit Airlines, docked in at the gate in Newark, and he was like 4 rows behind me, and the Husky head was there, and the ear was broken off and had to have surgery, and he was still fired up, and it was so cool. He was awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Good
all
dude.
The best to him and his family.
Well, hopefully the trend continues. I think it doesn't end with just that win last night. I hope that they're fired up and want to, take this further for not only him, but for the rest of the fan base. What'd you think of the game last night?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I was a little nervous,
Same.
Yeah. The being down, not the fact that they were down, just that they weren't playing good. And obviously you couldn't stop Wooga, and it's like, just didn't have a good, I had almost, I didn't want to say it out loud, but I had the feeling that I had early in the first game. We're like, DePaul's not going to pull this out now, especially now. But that kept hanging. And I had I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good. But then they came through when Alex started banging the shots down and Wooga got shut down. All good.
Yeah, some really great contributions. I thought, Aiden obviously is the big choice because he played really well. But I do love, I loved Jalen Stewart last night.
Yes.
I'll joke around with Henry because I'll text him a little bit, but he made a tweet last night or something to like Jeff Lowe, was just like, he just doesn't show up in the box score, but his impact was felt, and I was just like, it sure does. The analytics show it. He was plus 18 last night, like plus 18.
Plus 18.
Crazy,
yes.
Crazy.
Yep.
And so that's the best part is like, it's not just he banged a 3 in the corner late that kind of pushed the lead out to like 15 or 16. I think he played phenomenal defense. There's a physicality that he brings now that I love, of that he brought in the Marquette game. It's a question I asked Dan, even more so than that tip in dunk. The things that he's doing defensively, just to kind of, I don't know, man, like it's infectious. That's something I just truly, that's the kind of stuff you can't quantify.
Yep. The Solo's D too. Solo, I mean, he had that block that got jobbed on, but yeah, taking charges and whether they get called or not, but the fact that he's just sticking his nose in there, he's just, I think it's like you said, it's contagious. So once the guys start seeing other people diving for balls and Stewart doing his stuff, I think it just takes off, and it showed last night in the second half for sure.
You and I are very similar because the beginning of the game, I'm sure I was sitting there going, I just don't like this matchup. I just don't like it. Just don't like the matchup. I said it yesterday. I did a quick live show yesterday to get some stuff up pregame because I knew I wasn't going to do a post game last night. Could you imagine doing a post game last night?
Oh.
Like it was like 12:15, 12:30, something like that. It would have been like Maui. It would have been it would not have been fun.
No.
And I didn't have a Thanksgiving break the next day and people in town to help with children. So
right.
There's no, because even Dan last night was like, hey, we're going to go live. And I was like, no, dude, it's late. I'm going to bed. I was like, I'm going to snuggle up with my kids and go to sleep. Get out of here. But yeah, I just felt like the way Villanova plays, how they attack, like how they kind of like I was joking around like in the Big East, if you know that the opponents are the officials, I slipped, I've Freudian slipped, the opponents, the officials. If you know the officials aren't going to call hand checks, if you know they're not going to call grabs, so they know they're not going to call, reaches where you slap a guy in the hip or the arm on when they get by you, you keep doing it because it's a frustration thing. It kind of like it mucks the game up, and that's what Villanova does, what Seton Hall does. It's what St. John's does to a certain extent. So, pardon me. And so that's the frustrating part is like they didn't really get into their offense until the end because when Villanova ended up getting more tired. So what do you do if you're Dan for the rest of the week? Like because Creighton, you're going to get a little relief. Creighton doesn't play this way. St. John's, or Marquette, either of the teams that you're going to play is likely going to have that same feel.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like it sounds weird, but is it kind of like a rest game?
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Well, I kept thinking last night too. Like, the last time they played Nova, it was a Terrace Reed Jr. game, and like he didn't assert himself last night. So maybe you just got to play bully ball and just start feeding the post. And I don't know, because if your cutters can't cut and you can't set screens to get guys open looks, you have to find other ways to score. So maybe you start feeding the ball down low and just pound it in.
Maybe
you can't do that against Creighton. I get that, but again, you shouldn't have those issues about running your offense against Creighton either.
But you can put. I had Casey Matthews on earlier this week. He's the guy actually we're thinking about doing a Big East pod in the future because he approached me because he's a former Division I coach. He was a coach at Creighton for 5 years, an assistant coach there. So he's done a lot of scouting. He was incredibly knowledgeable, and he was almost spot on about Xavier because he was like, Xavier's playing so well. And he was just like, I just don't know if they'll have enough juice to finish it. And it's like everything he said turned out to be true, which is, watch out for them. They're going to be tough. But then, Marquette ended up having Cam Jones and Xavier did not because Cam Jones played great. I think when I was talking to him, like the kind of stuff about Kalkbrenner, because we're going to talk about the game here in a second, is I think you can attack him. I think they can play a little bit of that game like they did with Liam last game. I know I'm not expecting Liam to have 38 points tonight, but I'm expecting them to run very similar action where you're running that kind of two-man game with either Alex and Sampson, Liam and Terrace, and when Kalk drops, then they're basically taking what you take what you get. If you get a little 8-footer, you float it. If he plays up on you, go by him and you try to get a layup. If he plays a little too tight, then you throw it up a lob and we get a dunk for Sampson or Terrace. Like those are the things that I think you're going to see a ton of that. You're going to see a lot of middle ball screen. You're going to see a lot of that, and then off of that, you're going to see those kickouts and those flares to Solo and others, and hopefully our boy Mahaney for threes.
Yeah, DePaul did a great job of it last night. I mean, we should be able to execute a little better than they did, but they did a great job.
I agree, and I think also like if they switch to that zone, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I don't know if do you think they'll end up doing something like that against us, or do you think they just did that to kind of junk it up against DePaul?
Probably they were kind of desperate, and it worked. But yeah, so hopefully they're in that situation where they're desperate again because they're getting their ass kicked. Sorry.
No, You can say you can say ass. It's fine.
Why?
You know, it's take it easy. Slow down, everybody. All right, we're gonna take a quick break and put a little ad out there for the folks in case you're in the market for a new Nissan. There's a new lineup for you there, and we'll get it out there for you right now. We're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. When it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are an MVP level type. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear and wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventure to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. God, who is that? Who is that pro guy doing ads? That sounded great. He should pay. He should get paid for stuff like that, I think. But I like Nissans. You like Nissans? I've always been.
I have nothing against Nissan. I've never had one, but nothing against them.
You've never had one?
No.
I've had a Nissan Maxima. I've had a Nissan. What's the car? It's not a Sentra. It's the Ultima. That's the one. The Maxima was almost like a communal car. Like when I was living in California, like a couple of us like put together some money and we just got a kind of a beater at that time. That was an old school one. But I bought like a brand new Nissan Ultima that had that the first push button start.
Yep.
And like it had like 300 horsepower and like a 4-door, and I was just like, man, this thing's like a rocket ship. It was pretty cool. It was definitely a sweet car. But the trucks actually look pretty nice. Yeah, nothing against a Nissan. Nissans are good. They last for a long time. Go grab one. All right. So Casey couldn't be on the show today. I was going to see if he can, because I know he's in New York. He's working, and then he's obviously going to the game tonight. But like the one thing I will say that he mentioned to me, he sent me a couple of notes, and let's see if you agree with this in terms of what if he's looking at the Creighton side to win, right? We're going to use your big brain, analytical brain to flip it and say, okay, what's the opposite of that? So he joked around and said, well, I don't know. He's like, but I like their chances. And he said they have to eliminate live ball turnovers. He said, I'd rather have shot clock violations. He's like, and he put LOL. He said, but you just don't want transition baskets for UConn, so the crowd goes crazy. He's like, so like strategically, he's like, don't be surprised if they like hold the ball more and they're trying to like physically, and he's literally knows Coach Mack. So like he's trying to say, if there's one thing they're going to do is they're going to try to control tempo. They'll start fast in quotations, meaning can't get down early. Double OT game definitely took a lot out of them. So they have to contest shots. They don't foul, right? So they can't give UConn rhythm, uncontested jump shots, have to make them work for everything. He's like, that's, it's pretty simple game plan, but I think that's fair. I think that's, the no live ball turnovers is a good one, because you definitely don't want that UConn crowd, at their throats, everyone losing their minds, going crazy if, you get 3 or 4, breakout dunks or something crazy like that. So yeah, I think limiting 3-point opportunities for UConn is the biggest issue for Creighton, because I know they can shoot it, but they don't have a classic 3-point shooting team as much as they've had in the past. They have Ashworth, Jemiah Neal's played well against us. Kraut, right? That's his name. Kraut,
Trout. One of them.
Trout
yeah.
or Kraut. I think they have some decent guys. Kalkbrenner can even step back and shoot threes, but for the most part, I'm not as concerned about them having like a 16 3-point performance like they did in a last year's national champion team. So like, what do you think you have to look for in this Creighton game? Just thinking about who they are and thinking about what you watched with that DePaul game too.
Well, first, I was thinking this first thing I thought of this morning. Hopefully they're tired after the 2-0 game. Second, Ashworth's not going to shoot like he did last night. He's going to regret. He's going to come back to his mean a little bit, and hopefully he's not on too far on the other side where he makes up completely for what happened last night. So I was worried about that. But in terms of what Creighton's looking to do, I mean, does anybody go into a game wanting to turn the ball over more? I mean, you're always trying to limit turnovers, and UConn's offense isn't a fast-paced offense. They'll push it when the opportunity arises, but they're deliberate and they run their sets. So it's not like that's going to be anything different than what they're used to doing. So, I mean, if UConn plays their game and can get looks and limit, they're going to make some threes so that they can limit the opportunities and hope they're not the same thing has happened all year long with guys just start getting unconscious like Wugud was last night, then they should have a good chance.
Yeah, you know what I think the difference last night that I kind of like calmed down a little bit last night was watching Dan. I said this right before you jumped on. Like just tell his team like we're fine, like we're good. Like I feel like he could sense that Villanova's like blowing their load, like where it's like they're just so much, they're so intense and they don't have a deep bench that eventually I think he feels good about this rotation right now. Like if you get 16 minutes out of Aiden, and that means you're getting fresh legs from Haas. Like look at this box score. You had eight players with at least 16 minutes. Aiden had 16, Terrace had 17, Jalen Stewart had 20 minutes off the bench, right? Haas was 22 minutes. That's the perfect, when I say perfect number for this team to be bulletproof throughout this entire postseason. That is the number. The rest, absolutely, I could care less about. Solo had 30, Samson had 22 minutes, Alex had 37 minutes, and Liam had 32. Those are perfect numbers because if you ask a lot of these point guards, you ask a lot of Haas, you ask a lot of Aiden, and a little bit of Solo to run point a little last night. And so if they're logging if you only have two of those guys and take those 16 minutes away from Aiden and you sprinkle those into Haas and Solo, that game last night is different in my opinion.
Definitely. And like you said, Alex and Solo and Liam are going to always be at that 30-minute mark. And so like you just said it perfectly, as long as they can spread out the rest of those minutes evenly between Haas, and getting the Aiden minutes is huge. So, I mean, finally took an open shot last night. It was great. I was hoping like, please don't pass it, shoot the ball. So that was great to see. And hopefully that continues. Hopefully he's hitting his stride and feeling it.
I think he's, I think, remember how we used to talk about, I think I had you on one time, we were talking about how they have like, hot spots on the court they feel comfortable with. He hasn't shot enough to know like where he's best at. So hopefully they're just like, dude, just let it fly. Like, he missed an easy, like an easy wide open three, but then like he hit that corner three. Like, so it's like, there was multiple opportunities where he shook off like a miss and then followed it up with a make. The drives to the basket, that lefty floater was amazing. So,
just don't be a liability on defense and just keep shooting the ball. I mean, that's what more can you ask for? And don't turn it over.
I thought he played decent defense last night.
Definitely.
But yeah. Okay. What's your prediction for tonight?
God, I'm a homer. I'm gonna.
Well, no. I think you're gonna pick Creighton.
No, but like I said, I just hope that Ashworth doesn't explode. I think they'll be all right. I mean, they should have. The loss at Gamble was rough, but if they went winning at Creighton, should give them the confidence they need to take care of business on a home court tonight. So I think they'll win by 7 to 10 points.
7 to 10 points. All right.
Yeah, but they're going to make free throws down the stretch because they're going to have to foul and UConn will seal it there at the line. So
you're saying the double-digit postseason run doesn't continue tonight with Creighton? You can't get it.
Could. I said 7 to 10. They could get to 10.
7 to 10. Fair.
7 to 10. We'll see.
All right. Real quick, there's one more ad, and then we'll come back and finish up the show. That was very unprofessional. I'm just hanging here, and we got to get to the break. Ever check your bank account and think, where'd all that money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you the full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just about another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. Track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you can just stop managing money and start building wealth. I started using Monarch and was shocked at how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and actually save more. Plus, no more juggling apps. Monarch keeps everything in one place. And if you manage finances with a partner, Monarch makes it easy and seamless, letting you track shared personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take the control of your finances today. Use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year. We're back on Locked On UConn. We got a special treat here with Matt Edwards of Dream Season Pod. Here are the live episode with two very professional ads. Very, very, very rare in a live show. I love it.
Very well done. Very well done.
Yeah, I mean, when they're pre-recorded, it's a lot easier to get it out there. All right, so we have the game tonight. It's another late start. Oof. Come on, man. No overtimes, no Red Panda falls and breaks her leg, so they have to get an ambulance or something like that. So it delays the everything. Just no problems. Knock on wood. St. John's or Marquette win. Boom. Even if it's a close game, I don't care. Let's go. Are we ready for that? No more late games.
Sounds great.
First thing, I wonder if Dan at the beginning of this game, because he has guys playing pretty fresh, think about it. Haas 22 minutes. I wonder if he pressures them from the jump, just really not like a trap, but not like a old school, like a dream season trap. I'm not talking about Calhoun style. I'm talking just full court pressure early on. Jemiah Neal's played 50 minutes. Kalkbrenner played almost 47 minutes. Some of these guys played crazy, almost like a game and a half. Right. So I wonder how, if you press them early, do they just kind of fold? Not because of their, don't want to win but it's going to be hard to really, muster up the energy, because God forbid, even if Creighton was to eke this one out, they're going to get destroyed in the final.
Right.
So if you're Dan Hurley, does that come into your mind a little bit? How do we kind of wear them down even more?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, trust in the crew. I mean, Luke and Kamani, and Tom, they're going to think about it, and they're going to have every angle. It's the third time they played him this year. They're familiar with everybody, and like I said, they take that fresh knowledge of what they just saw yesterday into account, and that'd be great. They could do that. Get Sampson running up and down the floor.
Oh yeah. I honestly, I think that's actually what I'm excited about. I actually think I'm excited to see Sampson, get started in this game like the pogo stick that he is, and just yam one on Kalkbrenner, just and do it. And it doesn't really happen from close range, but man, when he loops back around and gets that running start, he just comes in like a falcon, and just that would be so cool. I just to kind of get this game rolling, just to get the crowd fired up, because I think if UConn typically starts pretty slow in these games and kind of gets their footing, I think that may change tonight. And I say that because they're starting to gain some confidence here. Do you agree with this, Matt? If there's a big if, UConn wins tonight and wins tomorrow, and so they win the Big East tournament, and they go into the NCAA tournament as let's just say hypothetical 7 seed, that they have a chance to not only get to the final four, but a chance to three-peat because of some of the adjustments they've made, and also this kind of new little streak that we've kind of seen going here. Because I made the argument that if they lost yesterday, if they lost tonight, if they lose tomorrow, that I do feel like the three-peat stuff can kind of go by the wayside just because the momentum dies a little bit. And this team is young and hungry. And as long as it keeps winning, it just kind of that starts to grow a little bit. That starts to grow a little further. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah. And I think hoping that the pressure they felt early in the season, I think it was more Dan kind of put it on them what they didn't, because obviously not that many people back from last year. So that were contributed. So the three-peat talk was kind of like self-inflicted, and that kind of after Maui and some other struggles, maybe that went away and they could rebuild themselves back up. And so that's not hanging over their head. So they don't feel the pressure as much. Maybe they already felt the pressure and dealt with that, and that's over with. And then the fact that the staff especially knows how to prepare the team first round game, second round game, Sweet 16 game, Elite 8 game, compared to other teams that may never have experienced anything like that before, whether it's just the practices and getting to the hotels and the meals and the meetings and the shoot arounds and the press briefings, like all that. They know how to navigate it so perfectly. So I think that's a huge advantage. And if they're playing well and they have an advantage over another team that hasn't seen the bright lights and felt that pressure, I'm hoping that can push them over the edge and get them back to San Antonio.
I think that's a fair assessment. All right, listen, man. Let's get out of here. I don't think anyone. Honestly, I love the chat, but I'm not talking to any of you guys today. It's beautiful outside. I'm gonna go run around it a little bit now that I'm feeling a little bit better, and get excited for the game. Also, I just got let me see if I can get this confirmed, and then I will. It's a UConn thing, so don't worry. Yes. Don't know a date yet, but Scott Burrell is going to join the show.
Sweet.
Yep.
Dream season hero.
There we go. So just wanted to throw that out there apropos with you on the show. So good stuff there. One of my favorites of all time, especially because at that time I was like really into baseball too. And it was like, oh, he's a first round pick as a pitcher too. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like a really cool thing. So anyway, really cool stuff. Thank you for jumping on and making this a little easier on me with my throat and all this other stuff. So gotta get this dub tonight.
Let's hope. I'm gonna go on Saturday. If they pull it off tonight, I'll find a way to find a ticket and get myself there. So fingers crossed. Hope I don't jinx it.
No, there's no jinx anymore. This is
that's true.
This is who this team is now. We're not a plucky underdog anymore. We got to expect the greatness, right?
Don't fear being great.
That's right. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the little midday live show, and go Huskies, win for Vin, and let's get after it tonight.
Go Huskies.